Answering Point Managers Group is called to order. Members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting through the MAG website. Comments may be sent at any time leading up to the meeting, but must be received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for that meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. MAG staff, have we received any public comments? If so, please read them at this time.
We have not received any comments, but we do need a roll call.
Oh, we do? Okay.
So.
I thought you already did that, so no worries.
No, that was me welcoming them. Now it's the official roll call.
Above and beyond, I like it. Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, so I'll go through the list of members. Please make sure you're unmuted and indicate if you're present when I call your name and agency, since we have those substituting. Craig Robinson, Apache Junction. Trish Price, ASU. Mike Folia, Avondale PD.
Present.
Jim Totora, Buckeye PD.
Present. Good morning.
Good morning. Stephanie Heinzelman, Chandler
Present.
PD.
Present. Good morning.
Thank you. Lynn Kolobowski, DPS. Or Anna. All right. Sergeant Beebe from Fort McDowell. Kim Weber, Gilbert PD. I saw Kim.
This is Kim with Gilbert.
Oh, okay, there we are. Loretta Hadlock, Glendale.
Loretta's here.
Hi, Loretta. Shauna Henry, Goodyear.
Sean is present.
Thank you, Shauna. David Demers, Luke Air Force Base. Jim Stillwell, MCSO.
Present. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim. Nicole York, Mesa PD.
Present for fire though, not PD.
I'm sorry, I changed you. I didn't know if you got the memo. You've been upgraded. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Kristen, Mesa PD, Kristen.
I'm here.
Thanks, Kristen. Heather Beckwith, Paradise Valley. Brittany Brunet, Peoria.
Brittany, present.
Hi, Brittany. Nicole Diedrich, Phoenix Fire. I thought I saw her on there. Dan McNamee, Phoenix PD.
Yep, I'm here. Good morning.
Hi, Daniel. And Ian Walter, AMR Rural Metro. Kim Clark, Salt River PD.
Present and good morning.
Good morning, Kim. Karen, Casey Kraken for Scottsdale.
I'm here.
Hi, Casey. Damala Surprise.
Damala's here. Good morning.
Good morning, Damala. Dale Webb, the interim for Tempe PD.
I'm present.
Hi, Dale. Ginger Sanabria for Tolleson.
I'm here.
Hi, Ginger. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Lieutenant Hadley Wickenberg. Is there anyone I did not call that's present?
Liz, can you hear me? Lynn Kolobowski.
There's Lynn. Yep, we got you now.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
We've received no comments. So that takes care of 1 and 2.
All right. Thank you, Liz. The quorum is now officially present. We're going to move on to number 3, which is the approval of the August 12th, 2021 PSAT Manager Group meeting minutes. Does any member of the PSAT Managers Group have questions or comments on the minutes? I'm hearing no questions. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Damala. I'll motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion from Damala Fancy from Surprise, and a second.
Brittany from Peoria, I'll second.
Thank you, Brittany from Peoria. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, MAG staff, would you please take a roll call vote?
Thank you, Chair. I'll go through the list of members, voting members. Indicate your vote when I call your name. Be sure you're unmuted when you respond. Mike Folia,
Approve. Aye.
Jim Totora,
Aye.
Stephanie Heinzelman,
Aye.
Kim Weber. Kim Weber,
This is fine.
Aye.
there we go. Loretta Hadlock.
Aye.
Shauna Henry,
Aye.
Jim Stillwell,
Aye.
Kristen
Aye.
Olander, Brittany Brunei,
Aye.
Dan McNamee,
Aye.
Kim Clark,
Aye.
Casey McCracken. I'm sorry, I added a Mick in there. Casey McCracken,
Aye.
Damala Fantasy.
Aye.
Damala, I couldn't hear you.
Aye.
Aye. Del Webb.
Aye.
Thank you, Del. Ginger Santabria
Aye.
and Lieutenant Hadley was Wickenberg. Is there anyone voting member that I did not call? The motion is passed, Chair.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 4, the administrative report. The 911 administrator will provide a report to the PSAP managers on activities and programs managed by Maricopa Region 911. Liz Graber, 911 administrator, will provide this report.
Thank you. So just an update on our regular things. I had to double check my sends total to make sure I just didn't put 1, 2, 3 as a place marker, but it really is 123 as of yesterday sends launches, which is we're still trending high, but we're just fallen just this month a little bit behind where we were last year, only by about 5 or 6 activations. So we're still trending pretty well on it. One of the things in talking to our vendor for Vesta Alert is that in the next maybe 3 years, 4 if we're lucky, it's coming to end of life. And so this is, the vendor was purchased by Motorola about 2 years now. And so Motorola owns it. And in speaking with the vendor, we saw the same sales rep, but now they work for Motorola. So in speaking with the sales rep, they indicated that they are going to put the platform on Command Central. And I said, well, what if we don't have everybody on Command Central? Do you have to be on the Vesta platform to be on Command Central? And they said no. So I don't know what that looks like and how we would run it, or if we need, we'll probably have to go out with RFP on it, on a new calling system or new sends platform and address it then. So that's just something to keep in mind, that our Vesta Alert will go end of life and we'll have to decide, do we keep the program? Do we move, do we go to Command Central? Do we do an RFP, try to see what else is out there? So just food for thought. Next, our tech sessions. We did our highest month in October, 889. That's our record for this year. Our year to date is 7,450. That's more than we've already exceeded the total from last year. And another thing on tech sessions, we are, as part of the NG 911 core services, integrated text will be part of that platform. And so we will keep our current product until we integrate and start our integration process. But as we do upgrades, we're confirming that all the integrated components are there so that as we move forward, it will be easier transitioning us. So we buy it as if you're integrated, but for now, we're going to do continue with over the top until next year. And then I have a couple of things, just discussion points maybe, and just to put it out there. The first one is smart tasers. Has any PSAPs received a 911 call reference somebody shooting their taser, that it came from the person shooting the taser? Has anyone experienced that? The reason I ask is I was driving to work, minding my own business, listening to the radio, and a commercial came on for smart tasers. And so it caught my ear because according to their sales pitch, that when with the new smart taser, when it's available to the public and when you engage it, when you shoot the taser, you can get the option where it automatically calls for help, and they sell it like it automatically notifies 911. And so I'm like, how is the gun going to call 911? So in reviewing it, went on and did a little research. The taser's in with a company called Noonlight. I don't know if anyone has any contact with Noonlight, but Noonlight is a monitoring service that when that's activated, they are notified, and then they verify about the taser, and then they call 911 on their behalf. I would really like to see how this works. I don't know. So I'm trying to decide who I'm going to tase if I get one. No, I'm kidding. But if we get I think that'd be interesting to see how it works. I don't know if they can do a demo for us, or that's something that we're looking into in a future meeting to talk about the smart tasers and what we can expect as PSAPs. The second item is Inform 911. Our good friends out in Charleston, South Carolina, sent an email talking about Inform 911. And what Inform 911 does is it adds a layer, like a building plan layer, onto the Rapid portal, Rapid SOS portal, that when they activate a 911 call, you can look at the school footprint or different layers. And there was some concern with Charleston because they sold that portion of Rapid SOS to a local company, and there was questions of money being exchanged. And at first I thought it was that the local company in Charleston was going to charge the PSAP to do this, but instead it's the local company is wanting to pay the PSAP because basically it would be helping them build a business. And so that gets into really gray areas. My question to our Rapid SOS portal users, does anyone have Inform 911 as part of their service?
No, but I've heard of it, Liz, and I thought it was they were charging the businesses for the cost, not the PSAPs.
Well, Charleston was also concerned, Loretta, that it was going to be another thing, another step that they would have to monitor their dispatchers, just another thing, and they were hesitant about that. So I'm not saying that it wouldn't be bad for a PSAP. I think we just need to investigate it. So maybe that's another area that we can vet out a little bit and understand how it would affect your PSAPs.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Loretta. So those are the three things for the administrative report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Liz, I have a question. Reference smart tasers. I was at a demo, I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago, reference jewelry that would also call, if I remember right, 911. I think it's going to be trending in that direction where many different devices will have that ability. Has anyone seen, you know what company I'm talking about, Liz? I can't remember if that was in Texas at the early adopter or if it was somewhere else.
Yeah, I've heard of the jewelry as well, but in my opinion, the fact that they have a monitoring service, a third-party monitoring service to be the cushion
Buffer.
between us and the buffer, it does my heart good because they verify it according to Noonlight, and Noonlight looks like it would be a vendor for all sorts of devices. That is a up and coming company that the jewelry or the smart tasers or whoever the wants to trigger 911, they would validate it and then contact the PSAP. So I haven't heard anything other than the presentation on the jewelry, but the smart taser, they're advertising it now.
Yeah, it was Invisaware. Thank you, Michelle. But anyway, that's I was just curious on, it seems like it's trending in that direction.
It is. I agree. I think that this will be one of many that start having that model of connecting to 911 faster.
Okay, I'm showing Dell has a question. Go ahead, Dell.
Yeah, so Noonlight and Invisaware, we've had dealings with both of those. Invisaware is actually managed by ADT. And so it's these jewelry devices. And what happens is when there's an activation, they call into the PSAP and they basically will give you a GPS coordinate and let you know they've received an activation. So it's just providing a location and that an alert was received. We haven't gotten really much further information on that as far as what was the emergency, who is it we're responding to. And these are kind of tricky because these are mobile devices. So each agency has to adopt a policy on how they're responding with resources and stuff to these types of calls.
Okay. Thanks, Dale. That's good to know. I appreciate the fact that they're wanting to be proactive in getting help to their clients, but I feel better when they've coordinated that with the PSAP community, so we're giving it in the proper order and our protocols are followed and it's not anything that's willy-nilly. And that's the end of my administrative report.
All right, if there's no other questions, this item is on the agenda for information only. So if you have any further questions, you can contact Liz after the meeting. Moving on to agenda item number 5, which is the PSAP Managers Group meetings. Liz Graber will provide a report on this update.
Yeah. Thank you. So for some time, we've been considering the idea of changing our meeting schedules because things are getting more complex. There's a lot more discussions we need, and it's always good to have good communication. So I visited with Chairman Folia and with Vice Chair Pinto Young, and they thought they saw the wisdom in it. And so starting next year, we won't do it till next year. So February, if you look at the slide, February 10th will be our first meeting. And we will go every other month on our PSAP meetings. What we're hoping for by doing this is to have better planning and better communications, because we're going to very shortly have a lot of things thrown to us as a region. And I think it will help us on all staying on track on the big projects that we're going to be working on. That's going to take all of us and all of our input. And this should help. What I'm hoping for, and Mag hasn't given us a date yet, is that if in a perfect world, we could have one meeting in person and then the next one virtual, and in person and virtual. I do miss seeing you guys in person. I think there's some added benefit to that, but we want to keep the rules of MAG. So, but that we were thinking we could do every other, we'd meet in person 4 times a year, and we could do virtual 4 times a year. The working groups can take advantage of those off months to meet together and discuss and be ready for their reports. And then when it comes to the budget and requests from the PSAPs, I think it's fair to those requesting items to be able to present their requests in a meeting prior to having to be voted on. I think that really presented itself in August as the discussion and approving all in the same meeting is difficult. And so this would give opportunity for the PSAPs to discuss projects and then go back and mull it over in the next meeting, be able to vote. I think the meetings now, I can't guarantee this, but I think the meetings might be a little shorter. Could be, we'll see. But I think what we need is better communications with each other as we get through the huge change from into NG 911 core services, that we'll need that because it's going to affect the technical team and the team, all the PSAPs. So if you look there, if we vote, we will meet that same pattern the second Thursday of every month at 10 o'clock. That's how we do, not every other month. So we'd start February 10th, April 14th, June 9th, August 11th, October 13th, and December 8th. So that is our new schedule. I'll be happy to answer questions or hear comments.
Thank you, Liz. Does anyone have any questions for Liz on the new format? All right. This item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. So if there are no questions, we will move forward to agenda item number 6. The next item on the agenda is the governance working group. This is an ongoing discussion and governance needed on a regional level. Karen Sutherland from Scottsdale PD will provide this report.
So actually Karen got called away, and so she had Casey come in and asked me to give the working group update. So it's kind of like the Liz show today. And I speak with Jim on there. Jim, if I missed something, let me know, but I'll go over what we have. So as an FYI, the budget was approved by MAG 911 oversight, and everything that we do in our meetings and that we vote on have to go up to MAG process. And the 911 oversight team is made up of a mixture of a chief level, and they discuss the budget. And so Karen gave a presentation to them on the formula that the working group has been working on, and the struggles we had in our PSAP manager meeting on how to apply that. And so they did not want to go back and put the budget on hold. So they approved the budget as a whole to move forward in the MAC process. But they did want the condition of running the PSAPs that are asking for additional positions, Mesa PD, Gilbert PD, and Goodyear, through the formula developed by the working group. And then we would be able to see how well the formula works, what results it comes with as compared to what the PSAP's requests are, and give us an idea of a case study, but it would not stop the budget from being submitted as it is. And so Karen and Christine and the group will reach out to the 3 agencies to get the data that they are going to need for the formula, the data points, and they will run that, and then they will give a report on what they discovered. So that was just to update on the governance, the policy of following the NINA standards on call answering time passed without any questions, and that also was passed by the management committee, the city managers. That was passed as well, both of those items. And we go to regional council the first week of December, and that will be our final thing, more of an FYI. So Jim and I would be happy to answer any questions about the governance working group detail.
right, I'm seeing no questions. Thank you, Liz, for the update. This item was on the agenda for information, discussion, and possible action to recommend approval of the governance changes provided by the governance working group. Could I have them? Sorry?
That is old verbiage. I apologize for that. There's no vote needed. It was just an update.
Sounds good. We will move on to item number 7. The next item on the agenda is the discussion on the major upcoming project on moving the region to an NG 911 core services and the outer PSAPs onto a new EZNet. Liz Graber will lead this discussion.
Thank you, Mike. Have you ever seen the movie Jaws when the guy sees the shark for the first time and says, we're going to need a bigger boat? That's kind of how I feel when I hear about core services and what's going to be involved. It's going to be worth it, but it's going to take a lift from all of us to get this through. This is a major, major project. So just in a nutshell, we've reviewed what the city had, what the state did in RFP, and it allowed a new EZNet to be built for the areas outside of the Maricopa region. It allowed Maricopa region to keep its current EZNet, our 911 network, but it brings in NG 911 core services to both EZNets. Core services is where you get into the call routing with the more, and I'm just very, very high level. When we get in the technical, if you have questions more on that, Mike and the team can answer it, but this is high level on the NG 911 call routing with different data points they use to route the calls. It's supposed to be much more accurate, and all the things that come with the IP end-to-end 911. So the company that was awarded was Next Gen Communications, and they will provide both the outside, the state EZNet and the MR 911 EZNet with core services. And what that will allow is that if there's ever an issue, and this has been our goal all along, if there's ever an issue with one of the 911 networks, that instead of going into a void black hole where nothing happens with the calls, that we would be able to route the calls into the other EZNet and, as it were, back them up from one from another. So there's going to be a lot. It's easy to do technically, but operation wise, this is one of the heavy lifts that we'll need with PSAPs, because first we'll need help with routing protocols on just within your PSAP and how that will look. You'll work with us, and then we'll have to discuss with the other outside the state and the other PSAPs on what redundancy looks like. Where would they go? How operationally would we handle this? So you think it's tricky now falling over to a PSAP that you have that's within the region? Think about out of state. So I mean, out of the region. So those discussions would happen, and so we'd start out real basic, and then over the years, the ultimate goal would be able to route a call. So if a network system failed, the call could still route to the PSAP through a different network. Now that's going to take time and money and planning, but that would be ultimately good, that if something happened to Tucson or people, something, they've lost it, their network dies, the outer network, they'd still be able to route the calls back into at least the region, so that they could be a little bit more manageable on sending help when it's getting sent locally, if that makes sense. So because of this, we need to stand up temporary, maybe not temporary, but for a few years, a core services working group. And I reached out to Karen Sutherland and asked if she would be the chairperson, and she said yes, and I won't be at the meeting to help. But so she has agreed to chair this working group, but we absolutely need anyone that would like to help on this and to work on it with Karen and with the region and with the state, so that we can plan how it's going to look in our region and then how we will interact with the state. If you're interested in that, please shoot me and Karen an email and I'll create the list. If nobody volunteers, then we'll voluntold you of who's going to serve on that, because it is going to be really important. It's going to be work, but it's going to be worth it when we get our final product and are able to do a lot more things with 911 that we haven't been able to in the past. So that's a lot of information thrown at you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right.
Liz, is there anything that you can actually send out for those people who don't really understand the EZNet? Just kind of like a brief overview, or maybe like a document that kind of gives them an idea what it is?
Absolutely. And I think we'll have some of that as we go along and getting it, but I'll see if we can get a high level point of what those changes will look like and how they will affect.
All right, any other questions? All right, that item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 8. The next item on the agenda is the AZ 911 office report. This is a report on 911 throughout the state of Arizona. Gerald Frazier, program coordinator at the state 911 office, will be providing this report.
Afternoon, everybody. This is Travis. Sorry, there was a little bit of a mix-up, but I'll go ahead and give the report from the AZ 911 office for today. So I'll just piggyback off some of the things that Liz had just mentioned regarding the NG911 implementation with the core services getting up and running in the Maricopa region. It seems like there's a little bit of a conflict in meetings this week. Right now, we have a meeting with Comtech going on where they're doing a presentation on policy routing. So just to give a brief overview of what this means for your PSAPs is present day default routing, where if your PSAP were to go down or for some reason you would need your calls to go somewhere else, you have the switch in your PSAP, and it's usually a 1-for-1 transfer to PSAP from PSAP A to PSAP B. As we move forward and get the cores up in Maricopa County, the system will become incredibly more diverse, and you as a PSAP manager will be able to create any rules as to where you would like the routing of your calls to go, whether that would be reactive or proactive, and there being a need for your calls to go to a different PSAP. And there's really an unlimited amount of rules as to how you would like that process to work. So if you'd like a certain percentage of your calls to go to one PSAP and another percentage to go to a different PSAP, that's possible. If you'd like to set up geographical boundaries in your jurisdiction and you'd like calls within a certain jurisdictional boundary to go to a specific PSAP, you're able to do that. Specific hours of the day, let's say you have poor staffing in the middle of the night, you can set up time periods where calls can be transferred to other PSAPs. It's very, very diverse. Comtech Next Gen Communications will be sending out the recording of that meeting that's happening right now. And it'll give a very good overview of some things to think about regarding what that process is going to look like. So food for thought, things to start thinking about is as this gets up and running, if you were to have an emergency or need your calls to be routed somewhere else, what would you want that process to look like if there was really no limitations? Other than that, by happenstance, it looks like we also scheduled our quarterly meeting this week. So we do have a very large debrief on everything that we're working on at the state office for Maricopa County. That meeting will be on Thursday. So I don't have anything else that we won't be presenting on Thursday. So to save time, I won't address anything else. But if everybody's able to attend that meeting, I think it will be very beneficial. And if you're not able to attend that meeting, please let us know and we'll try to reschedule a time when we can give you an update. So if there's no questions for us, I believe that's all that we have for today.
Hey, Travis, what time is the meeting on Thursday?
The MR91 meeting on Thursday is at 1 p.m.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jensen. Are there any questions from the membership? All right. This item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. Moving on to agenda item number 9. The next item on the agenda is a report from Maricopa Region 901 on technical updates and 901 system upgrade projects. Mike Benjamin and his technical team will provide us with this report.
Good morning, everyone. To start the report, I'd like to notify folks that we've had some change in some of our personnel. As of November 5th, John Lewis, who had spent a lot of time in the East Valley, but he may have had a presence at various times at any PSAP in the region, but he's moved on to another position in the city of Phoenix. So John Lewis should not be at any of your PSAPs going forward. We are onboarding, or just about to step in the hiring, where we'll be beginning the onboarding of 2 new hires. So since their hiring and onboarding will occur kind of right after our meetings here, I'll send out some information and probably a glam shot or something of these 2 folks that are being onboarded, so you'll recognize them by face and have their names. And for those folks, those PSAPs that work with us to get us access badges and so on, will be requesting to go through that process for those 2 folks. As has been discussed, there's a lot of work going on right now for the core services implementation. So that's going to involve a ton of work by a lot of different people, all over the state. There's things going on. And one comment I would want to make, Liz referred to it as next gen communications. And then I believe Travis mentioned Comtech. So Comtech is sort of like the primary contractor, or the primary group that is part of next gen communications. They're working with a number of partners. So they branded this when they sold it to the state here as next gen communications, but Comtech, a familiar name. We do, of course, text to 911. They are already involved and already connected to us for the overwhelming majority of 911 calls that go on already. So we have an existing relationship with them. Comtech had bought a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, they bought Solacom, the call handling equipment manufacturer, and also the IP selective router manufacturer. We happen to use the now Solacom/Comtech IP selective router. So hopefully folks will follow that next gen communications kind of equates to Comtech by and large. They do have some other providers that they'll be working with to execute this, but they're the largest player in the game, and that's the name you'll most likely see most often. So we will be working with them to follow on some of the comments that Liz had made about the resiliency, and Travis had talked about how things should be very flexible and all the next gen 911 features and so forth. But they're going to allow us in their design to maintain the 2 data centers that we have locally, and then also leverage data center and other call routing resources that they have, both in state as well as out of state. So the complexity gets amped up a lot, but the amount of resources that we'll have and the ability to interface with all the major carriers, from Lumen and T-Mobile and AT&T, Verizon, and so on, and then all the other new players that will be coming into the market as Next Gen 911 opens up to allow these new players to connect in ways that they never were able to connect before. So there's a lot of work going on that to join what we already have with what is coming in Next Gen core services. The other item here, I'm going to turn it over to Nate. We had a very busy quarter for projects and execution and implementation. And these two projects are now live, and I'll let Nate roll with a discussion on these projects. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, good morning. So I'll start off with discussing the two previous projects that we just recently completed. Excuse me. Benj ended up with helping me out with the Gilbert SIP admin trunking, which we're trying to do some touch up to finish up the installation here with Gilbert. For Glendale, which went Vesta 7.7, their project went live November 9th. Took about a little bit over 8 hours to complete the whole entire center. They kept pretty much the same call flow configuration as Viper did. So the transition was, in my opinion, was smooth. So currently we are dealing with some trouble issues that occurred over the weekend, because it has been about a week since they've transitioned over to Vesta. Dealing with issues like low audio on calls, both admin and 911, as well as some transfers. So I'm working to try to remedy that, as well as some function keys that are not working. I don't know if it's on the Geno or if it's on the GUI itself, so that's something that I have to research as well. And then lastly, the outbound dialing out, which I'm working with Glendale's IT to try to figure out what's causing the outbound dialing out issue. And then currently today, the projects I got that I'm focused on is the 3 workstation that Mesa just received. So Intrado is out today trying to get those workstation installed. The expected date for those to go live, the 3 position to go live, is the early January to mid-January is when they're expecting to have those workstation in service. And then lastly, for this project, the current project that I'm working on, it's the Salt River backup. We just completed the VoIP cluster update yesterday. A couple of things that we need to finish up so that we can test out the workstation that are there is to install Securities 2.2 on all of the Viper System 1 satellite sites in order to be able to bring Salt River backup positions online. And then obviously, and then the last thing is to configure the SIP trunk for Salt River backup. And then moving forward, I have 4 projects for fiscal year 22. AMR elected to choose Solacom as they call the anti-alley controller. Fort McDowell will be Viper standalone, and Scottsdale and Tempe will be Vesta 7.7. That's basically the report that I have for you today. If you have any question, I'll take it now.
Nate, I believe based on the dates here, I think you left off the Phoenix Fire cut to Vesta. Oh,
I do apologize. I thought we did mention that the last quarter, but yes, we did cut Phoenix Fire. They are a diverse system, 2 locations. The project went real well. Didn't have really any major issues cutting, because they're basically, we took the same configuration as the old Vesta and implemented into the new Vesta. So really no changes for them. The system's been up since for a few months. So things are looking good for them. I haven't had any calls from, Fire about call routing issues or any issues related to Vesta. So it's looking good.
Nate, I don't have any questions or anything like that, but this is Loretta from Glendale. I just want to let you guys know what an outstanding job Nate and his technicians did working with our vendors and our city IT and that. Great job. And it was a pretty smooth transition. Greatly appreciate all your hard work.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Nate, for that report, and thanks, Loretta, for those comments. Yeah, these projects, a lot of moving parts, something that's been a challenge, and it seemed like really hit kind of a certain level this quarter, and it's continuing, is a lot of interactions with folks, with PSAPs, non-911 telephony providers. So that could be Lumen or Cox or your city IT and telecom groups, depending on where you get various telecom services. Many PSAPs have contracts or relationships with Phoenix Fire Technical Services for ring downs into the fire department. These are non-911 telephony items that we work real hard to integrate properly into your call handling equipment, into the Viper and the Vesta and so on. But they're not telecom resources that our team is directly responsible for, though you're used to interfacing with our team to work on those items. And admittedly, sometimes it is the product. It may be a trouble with Viper or an issue with Vesta or something that our team should drive on. But many times, especially if the example where a PSAP may choose to make changes based on wanting new functionality, or they're tired of dealing with sending things through their PBX because of all the various reasons that people struggle with PBXs. There's a lot of interfacing that we do with these folks that we need to make sure that your support from these players, whether you're paying Lumen or you're dealing with at the fire department for those ring downs or your IT groups and everything, we need to make sure that everyone is at the table to provide that support, because some groups have great resources and teams. As an example, Buckeye has a gentleman we've worked with for years, Nolan, that really pays attention to all the detail of what's going on with their non-911 telephony. And even in those good relationships with him, it can be difficult to sort out the issues. Is it a Viper or a Vesta or another problem on the other side of the table, so to speak? And then there are other groups, some large groups, I won't mention the PSAPs by name, but some of our largest PSAPs don't have that kind of dedicated resourcing for their telecom support, or there's a misunderstanding in the PSAP community that Maricopa region handles all ring downs and things like that. So we'll do our best to stay on the correct side and work to get your non-911 telephony working the way that it should work. But many times we have to rely on getting those other resources to the table. So if you can direct any frustration you have with that, please direct that to me, or even if you need to go above me to Liz. I know our staff members, they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and they're trying to get everything they can get done, but sometimes they don't have all the numbers or the relationships with you folks, with the PSAP managers. They don't have that relationship where they can reach out to you and say, hey, we need more help from your telecom people, or we need Lumen or Cox or some other provider to step up. So I'll take a breath, and I don't know if I know there's a number of different active areas going on right now. We just finished one recently with Buckeye. We've been working with Gilbert. I think MCSO has a hot item. We've had issues of recent with Scottsdale. These are all just within literally like in days to weeks old, not necessarily like over all of 2021. So let me take a breath and hear if there's any comments from any PSAP folks.
I'm hearing none, Mike, so go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you. Like I said, I'll just, maybe the main point of this is if there are non-911 telephony issues and there's concerns about that, please bring those to my attention. If you don't think that our staff members are taking care of the business that they need to on your behalf, please escalate that to me as quickly as possible so that we can sort out getting the right resources to help you out. So we know that like the 911 calls, the non-911 telephony is important for the callbacks and for all the other administrative things and the other non-911 things that you have going on. But if you'll work, through me to get that done, I would really appreciate it. With that is the end of my report for the day.
All right, thank you, Mike. This item was on the agenda for information and discussion only. Are there any questions from the membership? All right, I'm hearing none. Moving on to agenda item number 10, which is requests for future agenda items. Are there any requests by membership for an item on the future agenda? All right, I'm hearing none. Moving on to agenda item 11, comments from the committee. Are there any announcements from the membership? I'm hearing none. And moving on to adjournment. This meeting is now adjourned. The next meeting of the MAG PSAP Managers Group will be on February 10th, 2022.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I didn't get unmuted quick enough. I just wanted to let everybody know. So starting November 29th, Tempe will have a new PSAP manager. Her name's Tanya Logan. She's relocating from the Atlanta area. So I will be working with Tanya to get her up to speed and make introductions to PSAP managers as well. But I wanted to let you know, and I'll send out some information as well. But I wanted to let the PSAP managers know that will be happening.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale. Do we need a motion to close, Liz, or are we good?
I'm afraid somebody would say no, so I don't think we need a motion. We just say
All
no.
right. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and conclude this meeting. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys in February.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.